I know you have been looking forward to us beginning the show at exactly 9 a.m. We apologize for starting behind schedule, circumstances beyond our control as usual. It is Saturday on Your View. I am Veronica Danik-Boy. Thank you for joining us. I have my beautiful co-hosts in the studio as well. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, Veronica.
Good morning. We have to head straight into the business of the day, and that's the papers we will be beginning with. And I will begin with the Nation newspaper, the major story here. Why Tinubu suspended Emefiele as CBN Governor. Apex Bank chief faces DSS probe over alleged money laundering, terror financing others. Folashodun Shonubi to act as central bank helmsman. All right, and some other stories here. Subsidy in Nigeria, no more for the Christmas to other countries, says Tinubu. Says payments were bringing the country to her knees. A presidential election well conducted, Atiku's witnesses tell tribunal. Tinubu Shatima APC's objection stole video evidence by Obi Labour Party. Police recovers 40 vehicles in raid on ex-governor Matawale's house. Attends National Assembly tell aspirants to manage their ambitions. Tinubu urges traditional rulers. And one final story on the front page, Ganduje Kwankwaso renew rivalry over Kano demolitions. I could have slapped him if I'd met him in Aso Rock, ex-governor threatens. Ganduje is the number one stooge, NNPP leader alleges. Who has a story here?
I have a story on page 13.
Right.
And it says, teenage girl rescued as Lagos communities battle floods and erosion. The story goes on to say that an eyewitness said the girl in question was running errands for her mother when the flood seized her legs and was sweeping her away. But some men dared the water and pulled her out before she could be submerged. And the story, it's a full page, and it goes on to highlight different situations where in the area they'd had instances like this of flood, and would see even when rain falls, in Lagos, there's always some form of traffic, and then we're always looking forward to what the cause is, and then we find out that it's flood, right? And the communities involved are now calling on the government to please fix their drainages and ensure that things like this do not happen, because if this girl in question was not rescued, that would have been another family thrown into mourning, right? So we can see this on page 13 of the Nation newspaper.
Right, that's a very timely one, looking at the fact that we're in the rainy season, rather. All right, I have one story here talking about this matter of fuel subsidy, and the president saying that Nigeria is no longer for the Christmas to other countries. Over the week, we saw reportedly some Cameroonian motorcyclists protesting why did the government, Nigerian government, remove fuel subsidy, talking about how it was affecting them because across some African countries, they prefer Nigerian fuel to what they have originally. And so that's why we saw that businesses thrive with the matter of smuggling the fuel to other African countries. And so the president is saying that this has been costing us a lot because we do not have the true figures of how much we consume on a daily basis. And even NNPCL had at some point said that we consume about 200,000 liters, go out of the country, or even much more with regards to smuggling. And we recall also that it is also reported that we find our fuel go as far as Sudan. That's what has been reported. But with the removal of fuel subsidy, that has been checked, and we have seen African countries also reacting, removing, cutting down on fuel subsidy as well in the countries. We'll move quickly now to Saturday Punch. And the major story here, experts hail Tinubu as president suspends Emefiele, others, CBN probe. Suspended CBN governor's policies worsen the economy. Analysts are saying this. Security agents may arrest ex-CBN governor, mount surveillance at airports, others. And another story at the top corner, 40 vehicles recovered from Matabawale's residence, police speaking. A speakership was Betara, others aggrieved aspirants to adopt candidate. I am shocked. Flood swept my husband away despite his hefty stature. A wife is reporting this just to look at the story you just talked about earlier on. Traditionalists who tamper with my corpse will join me, Ogumonak speaking. I wonder why Damola is laughing. Looking good has favored me, Ash Musin. Yes. El Rufai's comments on Muslim domination against Nigeria's unity, ex-CAN director, losing brother, mom in one day, still a nightmare, late couple's family speaking. So let me quickly begin with this story that made Damola laugh, and that's the Olubara of Ibara land in Ogun State. You know, he had an interview and he was talking about the tradition when monarch return to their creator, because it is said that they don't die, so they return to their creator. And he was asked about the tradition, what happens when a monarch passes on, and he says their legs are cut, some things are cut off and all of that. And he is not a member of the cults that, you know, carry out all of this, and that there has been a law that was put in place by a particular monarch to ensure that some persons' bodies are not tampered with. And he has spoken to that sternly. He has warned that anybody who tampers with any part of his body will follow him. And that he has gotten a place where he should be buried. His wife will be buried side by side him. He has made all the plans. All he wants is that bury me in a public cemetery, no form of
mutilation,
tradition, and all of it. I just want to be buried whole. I want to return to my ancestor just the way I came.
I think
that made me laugh because I was just wondering, this guy. He's not a guy.
He's a monarch.
He's a monarch. This monarch had to state categorically that don't touch my body, because. And then a picture just ran through my mind. What if you came to life whole, and then you're returning with one leg? It was just the picture that was playing in my head. That
he doesn't want that. He
So,
wants to return to his creator complete, alongside his wife when time comes.
And then these conversations are really rare to find when people prepare for afterlife, to say, when XYZ happens, do this, do that. And for him to now even prepare where he's going to be buried and all that means that he's actually thinking through the entire process.
Of course.
Right? And not just saying, well.
There are many who think through that process. Recently, I saw someone who said that if he dies, or when he dies, rather, his organs that are functional should be deposited somewhere or donated somewhere, and that he wants to be cremated. He doesn't want to take any space. That those spaces should be used for building of hospitals and all of those orphanages and all of those. He doesn't want to take any space. He just wants to be cremated, and that's it. It's final for him. Any other story here?
No, I don't have a story.
You don't have any? Okay. Let's quickly move now, and we move to the Saturday Sun. And the major story here: National Assembly leadership, APC's consensus proposal suffers a fresh setback. PDP, LP, NNPP, Northern lawmakers elect align against ruling party. International community frowns at plan to intimidate senators-elect with security agents. Ohaneze appoints Anyoku Ugwai and 66 others into advisory council. And Tinubu suspends Emefiele, others probe of CBN. And Tinubu, Nigeria no longer for the Christmas. The neighboring countries meets traditional rulers. That's on the front page of the Daily Sun. Who has what story?
I have a story that says 10 important health checks men and women must do in their 40s. Did you want to take that story?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'll just contribute.
And so the report says that, you know, most times women and men just go by life and say, I'm getting old and that's just it. But it outlines 10 important screenings, right, to get done. So one of it is the screen for depression and evaluation of mental health, right? I picked that out because, you know, sometimes when people go through stuff, you probably think that it's just stress. It's just stress, and then you overlook it till you're in your 50s, 60s. But this article is saying that depression and the evaluation of mental health, because even living in our country, Nigeria, comes with its very own peculiarities. So conversations and checks regarding mental health should be done. Others include blood pressure and cholesterol, hormonal functions, nutrition and exercise, skin cancer, then sexual health. So those are just to mention a few.
Oftentimes, like you pointed out, we feel that we do not need, I woke up early, I feel strong, I'm not tired, and so I don't need all these checks. That's what some persons think until you begin to hear that people collapse all of a sudden. Their body has been speaking to them, they are not listening. That's the challenge a majority of us have. Your body, you're having consistent headaches, you're not wondering why. You take paracetamol, you feel okay, it's fine, but the headache still persists. You're not checking yourself to understand what is the root cause of this headache, persistent headache. Or you feel pain a certain place, you're wondering why. Some other persons just take herbs without any measurements, so to speak, and feel that once I've taken this agbojedi, once I've taken this one and that one, I am fine. And so that's what it is. But when you get to a certain age, all of these things begin to tell on you, even before 40. I would say that people should begin to check themselves because the world is changing. What we are eating is changing. So the moment you hit your 20s or 25, begin to take up these checks. Ensure that you are okay, and you begin to address anything that you need to address ahead of time. And that is what a lot of persons do not pay attention to. In fact, some persons will say on your birthday, instead of buying yourself a dress or buying one thing, going to spend money here and there, why not use that money to do a total check of your body?
A thorough body analysis.
How does that sound?
Just to be sure that you can actually last another year.
That's it. And that's important.
It's really important.
Absolutely. Right. We move now to Saturday Vanguard. And the major story here says, to crush oil thieves, you must step on toes. Niger Delta stakeholders tell Tinubu. Army, Navy, Air Force, Police, DSS, NNPC, IOC top politicians in Villa involved. Burna Boy continues global stage onslaught, performs at Champions League final tonight. Iniedo on the rebound.
New cat.
Lagos anti-ethnic laws, more knocks on Speaker Mudashiru Obasa, Tinubu, Atiku, Kowa, Ribadu Ibori, the controversies, the truth. Insecurity, 325 killed, 150 kidnapped in 10 days under Tinubu. CBN Governor Emefiele suspended. What story do you have here?
I have a story on page 4 that says we are closest to our people, use us, on tells Tinubu. So in a courtesy visit by the National Council of Traditional Rulers in Nigeria to the president at the State House, you know, the Oni spoke on behalf of the traditional rulers and went on to say that there are areas we would like to work with you, one of which is security. It is time you use us more. We're not saying we're idle, but make use of us. That's what they were saying. So, and I'd agree that the traditional rulers are actually closer to the people in communities, and I think that they're even closer than the local government chairmen in most states, especially states maybe not Lagos, other states in the West. And I had seen a close relationship with the Oni and the people of Osun State being indigenes, right? And that's similar in other states too. And the Oni is saying, no, it's not like we're idle, but in matters of security, we know...
We need to quickly go on a break. We'll continue this conversation when we return from the break. To stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
right, thank you for staying with us. We're still looking through the newspaper headlines, and before we went on the break, Toby, you were talking about a particular story.
Yes, the only
Yes.
speaking to the president of Nigeria, saying that please use us. And I think that that's very critical to get the security in check in our nation going forward.
Absolutely. Before now, before the inauguration of the president, the Association of Monarchs, I think that's what it's called, they came together, they put forward a communique, like setting an agenda for the president, that the president, they'll be willing to be involved with matters of insecurity, and that they were requesting 50% of security votes being given to governors, state governors. And many persons had criticized that originally, what is their original function as monarchs? Are they playing that role? You don't need to get involved. You don't need to put it forward that, okay, we are here, you can use us. What do you want from the president? Why are you there? That's the major question that some persons were asking.
In cases like
And then,
Amotekun,
in cases like Amotekun, yes, what are they supposed to do?
to protect too.
Amotekun is there to protect, but they cannot put that team together. They cannot fund them.
True.
It is the state government that is funding Amotekun, right? Yeah. If you are saying we should give you 50% of security votes, what do you want to do with it? Right? Do you want to buy weapons?
Shakabula.
So these are the issues, because you would recall that sometime, I think last year or so, some monarchs were nabbed as being part of some perpetuating matters of insecurity in some states. So how open are they? It's good they're having conversations with the president, and I believe that they will also look at matters of some gray areas where some of them have been fingered as being part of some of the issues in their community.
Sure.
All right, let's quickly move on now to the Saturday Tribune. Tinubu probes Emefiele, places him on suspension. Subsidy removal, marking the order's release of more buses, rolls out other palliatives. A Senate presidency tussle, votes may sell for $5,000, $10,000. Anxiety in Akpabio's camp over Yari, Tinubu seeks royal father's intervention. El-Rufai's claim of Muslim domination is toxic, frightening. Fuel hike, we may increase school fees. Southwest PDP reps elect demand House minority leader. Vigilante shoots man dead for speaking to his girlfriend. Former governors, 34 others float private varsities. Prioritize competence, ensure ethnic religious balance in appointments. Olugbon tells Tinubu, I stopped taking soft drinks 20 years ago. 90-year-old Shodaike is speaking. All right, who has what story?
I don't have a story in the Tribune.
Okay, the fuel price hike, we may increase school fees. I thought you had that. Well, those are, with regards to the subsidy removal, it's affecting schools. Private school owners are saying that they are going to look at increasing school fees for them to be able to remain in business. They have looked at overhead costs and the matter of buying fuel as it is, and that the only way they can go about that is to increase school fees. And so are beginning to speak out so that parents can begin to take steps to ensure that, okay, prepare themselves, rather, that's the word, that we know that we might be reviewing the school fees in the coming days, so get set. And
the ripple effect of this removal of subsidy cannot be overemphasized. It just goes on in so many sectors. The cost of goods, stationery itself, you know, in schools. I would have expected that immediately, but you know how schools take their fees per term. So does that mean that by September, parents should begin to get ready for that?
That's what it means.
Yeah, I think they will communicate that.
They will communicate that, except they are also looking at having virtual classrooms, for a certain level.
That virtual classroom doesn't work. It's always a waste of time. The internet is not stable. And then the kids do not really enjoy that effect of being in the classroom.
And then for parents who are working, how do they handle?
So how do you monitor?
Their caregivers.
Yes.
So they will have to leave their children with their caregivers to monitor their child in school.
What if you don't have a caregiver? What if, you know, just dropping off your child was your escape to just quickly go
so
to
be
work.
ready to pay
and
the
then come back.
fees. That's what it is. You can't eat your
True.
cake and have it as it stands
Absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
they have to remain in business as it is, and they are looking at the overhead cost. Are we
Yes.
saying that they shouldn't look at increasing the school fees? How do we want to cushion the effect? We have seen some states saying that, okay, 3 working days. Kwara State, for instance, has said that they're going to have 3
Even
working
Edo.
days for their staff, for their staffers. We see Edo State also saying about 3 or 4 working days, and we also see some other states coming up with palliatives. And yes, a majority of Nigerians are saying, do not limit these palliatives, stretch it such that it gets across sectors and everybody gets to feel the impact of the palliative. So what is the government going to do in that instance? If government is saying, okay, 3, 4 working days and schools are part of it, your child will have to be at home to have virtual classrooms. So what it will be now is how government can partner with some of these internet providers to ensure that there is stable network. And then we have matter of electricity.
Okay.
To ensure you have electricity.
It's just
that some persons will be cut off in the whole process because there are some persons who do not have the needed device to be able to be part of virtual classrooms. What are we going to do with that? So there's a whole lot. Yes, the government is meeting with stakeholders to address this matter as it's been reported. But for the matter of fuel subsidy removal, it is gone.
And it's here to stay.
And it's here to stay.
So we must accept that reality that
and begin to
gone.
adjust.
Yes. Do you have a story?
Yes, there's a picture of an abandoned child on page 5 of this newspaper, the Saturday Tribune, giving a few details about it. So this is just to put it out there. If you know of a family looking for a 2-year-old, please reach out to the dailies today, the Saturday Tribune, and you'll find the picture of the child there.
Okay.
So
Damola, you have one story that you...
Yes.
Quickly.
So it's the rift between the former governor of Kano State, Governor Abdullahi Ganduje, and former presidential candidate, engineer Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. So the former governor, Ganduje, said he would have slapped Engineer Kwankwaso if he had met him at the villa when they went to meet with the president. And this is stemming from the demolition exercises that are going on in Kano State right now, which is being done by the current governor of Kano State, Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf. And Ganduje is claiming that this is just a personal vendetta against the success of his own administration, and that this, the demolitions have not been properly investigated. And this just goes to show that our politicians need to do better, because one of the reasons why investors are scared of investing in a particular state or country is political instability. So they don't want a situation whereby they would have a contract with a sitting governor, and then another one comes and then toggles it over, and then they have to wait till they sort out the matter. I think that personal issues between politicians should be left aside when it's related to, governance and state-related matters.
Very important. Yeah. Right. Here we need to wrap things up now. I wanted to talk about the inauguration of the 10th Senate, which is to happen next week, Tuesday. And from the story here, we are hearing that votes may sell for $5,000, $10,000 because of the intrigues already involved. And it's going to be an interesting one. And trust TVC to be on top of the issues to bring you every detail with regards to the inauguration of the 10th Senate. We'll take a break. When we return, we'll be looking at the hot topic for today. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, thank you for staying with us. News broke yesterday that President Bola Tinubu has suspended Godwin Emefiele from being the CBN Governor and ordered for the probe of the CBN. He then appointed Mr. Folashodun Adebisi Shonubi as the acting governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria and in replacement of Emefiele. What are your thoughts on this? Please join the conversation and call us on 081-270-53687 or 091-390-76948. Or you can tweet at us at TVC Connect using the hashtag #YourViewOnTVC. Now, why am I smiling? When this information broke yesterday, it's as if a lot of persons, Nigerians, were waiting for when this day was going to happen. Those in the beer parlor had a second round of drinks. I was having that conversation. I had a conversation with somebody this morning that said that he was in the beer parlor and they had to have another round of drinks because of this information.
Wow.
Recall what happened yesterday, I say yesterday, last year, leading up to the elections, where there was the matter of cash crunch. Every Nigerian felt it. Every single Nigerian felt it, to the extent that there were those who died. They had money in the banks. But because of the decision to redesign the Naira and then withdraw the old notes, then people could not have access to their monies except a certain amount. And then you go to the banks. You saw what happened at the banks where a lot of people went naked.
Yes.
There were those who collapsed. There were those who were in the hospital. They couldn't
pay.
They couldn't make payments for their treatment.
It
was the chain reaction. We saw how banks were destroyed in some states because of people were angry that they have monies in the banks. They can't access it. They can't feed their families because of this policy. And now it is not about that policy alone that he's been arrested for. It's the matter of he has a case to answer in terms of, I think, money laundering, terror financing, and so many other issues that has been tabled. And then there are those who said that the way the president went about this, there are those who are saying that this is a personal vendetta because of how the president reacted when he was president-elect with regards to the policy. He said it was harsh, and the implementation was harsh. Now, this governor, former governor, okay, I can't call him former governor of the CBN, suspended
governor,
CBN governor, was with the president last week. When you look at our screen, he was there with Dele Alake and some persons in government. He did not know what was coming. While he was with his family, relaxing.
But
on a Friday.
We cannot be sure. We cannot be sure that he didn't see it coming. We cannot
not sudden.
We cannot.
He didn't
we
think
cannot
that
tell
it would
if
come
he
this
went
now.
there to plead his case. That thing that you.
No, he didn't go there to plead his case. So
no,
what they were talking about.
Things that are
No.
televised, you know.
What he was, well, I don't know what happened behind
I don't know.
But what he went to discuss was the matter of fuel subsidy and some economic policies, because the president had said that he was looking at unifying the exchange rate. And so he was having those conversations with him. So that was one of the reasons that I know that was reported, I was not behind the scene. That's why we must make that clear. Now, those were some of the conversations they had as at last week. That's why a lot of persons believe that he didn't see this coming, but we're used to it.
But did most Nigerians see this coming?
From my view, I don't think, for those saying that it's a personal vendetta from the president against the suspended CBN governor, because this matter started last year when the SSS/DSS, went to the courts to get a court order to be able to detain the CBN governor for 60 days. But then it was not approved because the courts did not find substantial evidence. Yeah, and then the president did not assent to it to say he did not approve it. Yeah, for the order to be given. So this matter
so
already
are you saying
started.
the president? Former president.
The former president.
Very good.
Yes, thank you.
Former president.
Former President
Buhari was
yes.
backing him. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that. I said this matter.
Veronica, she didn't say anything like
No, I'm
that.
saying it
The
did not
matter
happen.
happened. I'm saying that this matter had already started. You know, this investigation against the suspended
I want
CBN
it to be
governor.
clear, Nick.
Yes. It's very crucial. This suspended CBN governor, his matter started during the former president's administration. That's former President Buhari. Yeah, and then there were investigations and there were moves to arrest him, you know, regarding there were so many allegations leveled against him, you know, terrorism, the Paris Club reform.
Yes, he not paying all of it.
Not paying all of money laundering. But then I think the presidency, that's the former administration, they were threading carefully because it is
Why?
because it is very sensitive. It's a very sensitive matter to accuse your CBN governor of financing terrorism.
No, the
Because
government, hang on, that administration said that it was not going to tolerate corruption. And so Nigerians
So why
expected.
did they make the move?
Nigerians expected, because you made a statement, they were treading carefully, because I want to understand what you mean by treading
I
carefully.
think in the eye of
They
the
said
on the
they were
world
not going
stage.
to tolerate corruption. And if there are conversations saying this person has, you know, there are issues around this person, we found this, we found that, what you can say is step aside, just as the president is doing now, so that we can carry out investigation.
Do we step
I
aside in
believe
this part of the world?
this is what is being said. Step aside so that we can carry out investigation. The president on his own cannot just suspend him or take him out of office. He needs the backing of 2/3 of the Senate.
But he can be suspended.
But for now, he's under suspension.
Yeah.
Suspension, even though there are those querying this suspension that it has to be done by the law.
I think it's the removal that has to be done.
He has not
by
been
the law.
removed.
Yeah, he hasn't been removed.
He has-
But the president actually has the power to suspend him, to discipline him, because it actually happened
It's a disciplinary action.
Yeah, this kind of suspension happened during former President Goodluck Jonathan's regime when he had to suspend the former CBN governor, Sanusi Lamido. And this was one of the issues that were dealt with. Does the president have the power to remove the CBN governor due to the institutional independence that the, you know, CBN wields? And, you know, when he was suspended, he actually challenged it in court. But then the court gave a ruling that since the CBN was actually birthed from the from a bill from the Senate, then it technically makes him a public official that can be disciplined by the president. So that was why he was able to suspend
So there's a
him.
precedence.
And yeah, there's a precedence. But then he did not contest it. You know, he just took it and then left. So it means this thing has happened before. So suspension is not
new.
It's not new, and it's not total removal. Even though I'm not sure
If you
coming
come back.
But
No, he's
that's
been
what-
investigated.
that-
He
yeah,
has to
that's what the
prove
law
beyond
says.
reasonable doubt that he's not guilty of all of the cases leveled against him. That is what we determine if he will return or not. But his tenure is almost elapsing. So that is also another thing. Anyway, Toby, you wanted to say something?
Yes, but my question really is, you know, most Nigerians would have said, based on the fact that things have been happening before now, he should have read the signs and honorably stepped aside,
No.
right? But in our country, Nigeria, do we honorably, I mean, especially for people in governments, do we honorably step aside, right? So why do we expect that Emefiele would, you know, or should have stepped aside when he was seeing all of this, you know, brewing
Seeing
up?
the handwriting. He perhaps did not see the handwriting on the wall. It takes a lot to see, but perhaps what he was seeing was, okay, favors and all of those. He was not seeing the handwriting that you have stepped on toes, perhaps.
And
perhaps so.
And he also tried to contest for
Which is unconstitutional.
exactly contest for the presidential
How do we
seat
even come up with
during
things?
the last election
Yes.
while he was still
Still
a
the
sitting
sitting-
CBN governor, which
You
was
took
very,
the
very
case to the court, and the court threw it out.
exactly.
So to tell you the guts
Yeah.
he has So he would not see the handwriting on the wall. I don't even know the handwriting you want him to see right now. What is that handwriting? Tell me.
Wow.
What is the handwriting you expect him to see on the wall? What would you say he did that he should have seen that
I think
suspension is
Because
coming?
even in December last year, yes, there were issues in court regarding him and all that, like the Paris Club Fund and all that. Those things were already there in the pipeline somehow. And, you know, this, during the, what's it called? Crunch of the... Cash crunch, yes. It was looking like... You know, because even the average Nigerian...
Did you see his body language during
even the average Nigerian would have been like, they may not have understood the entire goal of, you know, withdrawing the former currency and all that. But what they knew was that we don't have money, we have money in the bank, we don't have cash in hand. Please, this person...
Did you see his body language during that period? What was his response to the plight of Nigerians during that period? Was he someone that showed empathy towards the people?
That's critical.
Was he someone that showed that he is conscious of perhaps of the plight of Nigerians and what things were going on in the polity? Because when he was interviewed, he said that it was the president, the former president, that gave him the directive, and that is what he's acting upon, so to speak. And then when the president was interviewed, the former president was interviewed, he said that...
We'll get used to it.
He said that it was based on the advice he got that he took those decisions. Who gave him the advice? The CBN Governor. No.
Sorry. You know, when you ask who gave him the advice, that's Peter Obi's audio. I got the advice from a madman. That audio just ran in my head and I just had to laugh out. Sorry, you can continue.
No, so he is in that position because it is expected he has the expertise to address the issues that has to do with both our monetary policies
and fiscal policies.
In fact, the Minister of Finance at some point came out to say that she was not even aware of this matter of Naira redesign. To tell you, he gave a reflection of his kind of person. So I'm wondering if you expect this same person to see handwriting on the wall.
I think I read it somewhere. I can't remember which of the newspapers right now, that he actually applied for a study leave.
Yes.
Yeah, he applied for a study leave, but it was not granted. So it was at that point that I should have
recall that.
Yeah, because that means he wanted to leave temporarily. So I still feel...
See, at that time, it was, I think, a former governor of Zamfara State that said that he wants to leave, or this CBN governor wants to leave, and that the presidency should not grant him that study leave, so to speak. But the presidency now came out to say that they are not aware of anything of such, that Godwin Emefiele wants to go on study leave. And if you recall, too, that during the time of the cash crunch, when the Senate calls him to, to interrogate him and all of that, he eventually sent some other persons that he is not around. He traveled to attend to some official matters and was not in the country. So his body language is the issue for me. How did he go about all of these things? It takes a lot of guts. You know, as a CBN governor, that you are not supposed to contest for the seat of the presidency. Yeah. So who was gingering you to say, Baba, collect this form? Collect this form, you will win. You will win, you will get... Who was gingering you? You know, you should know the law.
Yes, he must have had some advisors.
You understand?
Supporting him.
And then one of the things that really worries me is the fact that, in the midst of the fuel cash crunch, am I saying fuel subsidy?
Just hold your thoughts first. We have Festus calling from K2. Festus, good morning. Go ahead with your contribution, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It doesn't baffle me at all.
Right. Why?
The man is lying who sees the handwriting on the wall.
Why didn't it baffle you?
The backer is the former president. Immediately that one leaves, he should know that the man who is standing for him in Aso Rock is gone. He was already bypassing all the protocol. That was why, the Minister of Finance didn't know anything about that Naira redesign policy. The Federal Executive Council didn't know anything about it. So he would just go directly to the president. And since the man is gone, so automatically what you expect, no backup. So he should have resigned. In overseas, once you do a policy and the policy doesn't work out, the next thing you tender your letter of resignation and you quit the state. But you will not go. That is African mentality or Nigerian mentality, so to say. So I don't blame him. So
who do you blame then?
Hello?
Hello? You say you don't blame him. Who do you blame? You say you don't blame...
I blame who should have passed him earlier. That is Buhari. Buhari didn't appoint him. He was appointed by Jonathan.
Yes.
So the first time left, and he was kept. Look at what the same Jonathan did to Sanusi.
Yes.
He removed the former CBN Governor. And this man did worse than Sanusi. It's because Sanusi exposed Jonathan and this. Sanusi said the next government that will reign after Jonathan will borrow money to run the country. Because of that, he was removed because he exposed them. Yes, I have the video.
So, all right, are you still there, Festus? Right, Festus is gone. We wanted to find out if he's happy that with this suspension, he's not yet gone. Godwin Emefiele is still there, but it's just been suspended.
Absolutely.
Now he's pointing accusing fingers at the former president, that the former president shouldn't have retained him because he was appointed by former President Goodluck Jonathan. Well, perhaps the former president had not seen his tendencies. There was a time that it was rumored that the former president wanted to sack him, that's Buhari, and something went on and the sack didn't happen. So some persons began to say all sorts that I do not want to talk about here. But saying that his backer, Buhari, former President Buhari, once he left, he should have known that this right now, you need to move. Perhaps he wanted his tenure to also elapse, saying that I finished my tenure at least, my 2 terms as CBN Governor. Perhaps that was what he was looking at.
Or he didn't want to take any, he didn't want to record any failure to say, oh, I had to resign from my job at a point that it became
What
so
else
difficult.
is the failure?
There's something called resigning honorably or leaving a place honorably, right?
We have a caller on the line. Alhaji Zubair, are you there? Good morning.
Yeah, I'm here. Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Go ahead with your contribution,
Thank you
please.
very much.
Yes.
Yeah. On the issue of central bank governor,
Yes.
on the issue of suspension of central bank governor, it's long expected. In fact, it's a welcome idea. You see, look, this man has made a lot of people suffer. A lot of people die because of his wrong policy. Wrong policy does not benefit our economy. Wrong policy that kills, make people lose their lives. Wrong policy that make our naira not valuable. You know, in fact, you see, the suspension of Emefiele as long expected, and it's a welcome idea. In fact, you know, kudos to the president, and Nigeria is interested in all the investigations. Look at the naira issue. Up to today, you know, we are not even seeing the new naira. We wasted our money on the issue of currency, and they put it behind that. But the suspension of Emefiele is welcome. You know, like I said, it makes a lot of people lose their lives, mess up our business, cripple business. Wrong policy. So have a nice day. Thank you very much.
And you too. Thank you. Thank you very much. Nigerians, yes, it's expected because of the suffering a lot of Nigerians went through. I said a lot of persons collapsed.
Right.
Where people collapsed and died.
There was even
and then the matter of terrorism financing is reported he is funding IPOB in the Southeast, and we know what is going on in the Southeast. As people have lost their businesses, lost their lives, you know, everything. gone as a result of the activities of these people in the Southeast. We've been talking about unknown gunmen. And he's now being fingered as one of the persons sponsoring them.
That is a very, very huge allegation. And I just hope he can,
clear himself?
Yes, if he's not guilty, I just hope he can clear himself. But if he's guilty, he actually owes Nigerians, especially the people who have had their businesses disrupted in those regions. I have some friends that have not been able to travel home just because of the fear of the unknown, because you don't know what can happen to you on the road. So that man, if he's proven guilty, I think he needs to apologize to the whole of Nigeria.
Is that enough to give Nigerians closure?
Well, I don't want to say what is really, really inside my mind.
Why are we here?
Yeah, I really don't want to say, because if he's actually found guilty, I think he should also be given a death sentence if he's found guilty, as far as I'm concerned, because people have lost their lives. To what extent do you want to have an ambition at the expense of people's lives? Like, why? What do you really, do you want to take all these monies and powers to wherever you're going to in the afterlife? So why would you want to, that is, if he's proven guilty, these are the questions that we should ask him, like, why did you do it? Because you literally, you literally sabotaged the whole administration of a president. People were worried. Foreign direct investments were not coming in because of the instability. Payments,
school fees.
Exactly. I mean, it disrupted the whole of the country. So why would anybody want to do that? It's just so, it's appalling to find out the extent to which people go just to get power or seize power.
And I look at, you know, when we were hearing about the redesign, I was thinking it was going to be something, I mean, when the new currency comes out, it was going to be really, really, you know, different from what it was. And then when people started saying, oh, this is and it was just like the same.
Just color differences.
And looking at the budget that was used for that too, in my head, I was like, it was...
Then the matter of the mismanagement of the Anchor Borough scheme and all of it, it's just a whole lot that is on the plate right now that he has to deal with. And we hope, because another matter is the fact that if the government will follow through to ensure that if found guilty, he is brought to justice and it is not another case that will be swept under the carpet. Nigerians are waiting to see how the government will handle this matter to the very last of it. And they already believe in the government to, now that it has begun the process, to ensure that it goes through the whole process to bring from the CBN Governor to book. Fingers crossed on that. We take a break. When we return, we'll have perhaps another conversation. Just stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Good morning, Honorable Ogbara. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Good morning, my sister. I can hear you.
All right. You can hear us. We'll join you shortly. Honorable, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, okay. Want to be sure, that's why. Zokwe is the one that's making noise.
How am I addressed? Not. Oh, it's okay. Yes, good morning. Yes. Oh, Wangbo. Yeah, she wants to talk to you. Hello.
Yes, I have.
Hello, good morning.
All right, thank you for staying with us. Joining us is a former commissioner in Lagos State Audit Commission, a former board member of different federal parastatals, such as the National Center for Women Development, Abuja, the National Horticulture Research Institute, and the Nigeria Television Authority, Abuja, a TV presenter turned politician, the Special Assistant on Trade and Investment and Technical Aid Corps in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Abuja. We cannot begin to reel out how many hats she wears, and she wears them so diligently. Please welcome House of Member-elect Kafilat Ogbara Adetola. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on the show this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Now, let's begin with your principal, who you respect so much. Under or after a week of his emergence in office, Nigerians have been seeing how he has been responding and reacting to situations across the country beyond removing fuel subsidy removal. He has also gone ahead to suspend the CBN Governor, and that has been generating a lot of reactions. Let's get your perspective to all that he has been doing since he assumed office.
Some of us are not surprised because we knew what we had before we went all out to market our product. We are very proud of our principal, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, GCFR President Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. And Nigerians have seen clearly, even in very few days of about 10 or 11 days thereabouts, that Asiwaju Bola Tinubu remains focused and, of course, has the purposeful leadership to offer Nigerians. In the last meeting we had in the villa with the National Assembly members and the leadership of the federal government, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu was able to impress a lot of even all our opposition members in the National Assembly. And a lot of people have been able to hear their testimonies after that meeting that they didn't even know that this was what Asiwaju was made of. They didn't know he was this intelligent. They didn't know he has so much vision and, of course, clear-minded, purposeful direction to lead Nigeria. And he was able to tell us at that meeting a lot of things he had been able to achieve, even beyond the media's information. We're able to know that he has even started to meet opposition governors on issues that affect their security in their states. He has started to meet with ExxonMobil on issues that has to be with what I can guess, of course, power. And of course, he has even able to start to talk about the deep sea ports in Akwa Ibom and a lot of other areas that he has been able to touch just in 10 days. We are very proud of him, and we hope and we are very sure that soonest Nigeria will be on the right track, because we know what we have. We are sure of what we have. We know him, we believe in him, and we trust in his vision and his mission for Nigeria. Nigerians, please, this is just a tip of the iceberg. The real thing is still coming.
Right.
Well done, ma'am. Thank you so much for that. That was quite insightful. I see that through your profile, you've done a lot of things relating to government work and even personal stuff. So you also were a TV presenter, and that's just so intriguing to know. How has your journey been like in politics, and what are the key things that people would say that, yes, Ogbara Kafilat has done, right, in positions in times past?
My journey in politics started over 20 years ago. I first contested to go to the House of Assembly in Lagos. I also contested to the House of Rep in 2003 and 2007 before I won the election now. I've also contested the gubernatorial election in Ogun State to be the governor of Ogun State once. And since then, even though I was not in the Progressive Party at that time, I was in PDP, I have always had federal appointments at every interval. So, and politics for me is a way of ensuring that you contribute to your immediate environment. You see to happenings and everything that government has to offer in terms of policy and direction. It's not enough for us as Nigerians to think that the government will do it. We all also have a responsibility as citizens to do the right thing, because it's a symbiotic relationship, and it goes a long way in ensuring that we have the right governance in our country. And this is what Asiwaju Bola Tinubu is bringing on board. I think this is the first time in the history of this country that a president will have a chit-chat with the whole of the National Assembly in the shortest period of assumption of office, and also relate with them, engage them, get close to them, and of course, also inform us as a legislative arm of government that, look, I am going to be operating an open door policy. And this means that he is already getting everybody involved, even though the independence of the legislature is very important, and of course the independence of both the executive and the legislature is also very important. But this does not mean that because the legislature does not want to be a rubber stamp, in quotes, as you media usually call them, they should start having issues with the executive. There must be a collaboration, there must be, cooperation, there must be synergy between the three arms of government, of course, even the judiciary, to ensure that we are able to deliver the right dividends of democracy to all Nigerians. And as Asiwaju Bola Tinubu also said at that meeting, that we all also know that, of course, elections are over. We have finished the elections. The Nigeria project is the big thing that is before all of us. And we must all, if indeed our campaigns were not of selfish interest, of other interests, if it's about Nigeria, then we must drop our partisan politics and face the Nigeria project and ensure that we cooperate together to get the desired result, to ensure that Nigerians have the best of their country this time around.
Let's bring it down to women's participation in politics. In your own opinion, as a human and women's rights activist, what are the reasons why we have very few women in politics? And how do you think that the current administration can mitigate this?
Well, women participation in politics has not been low. I've always corrected that impression. A lot of women participate in politics, but women representation in appointive and political and, elective positions have been very, very low compared to our participation in politics. If you go to our political meetings, for instance, the ward meetings, the local government meetings, even our state meetings, you find out that the women are usually more. They are there as the crowd. They are there as the singers. They are there as whichever category you want to look at it. But when you look at the high table of those meetings, you'll find only the men occupying the seats. So when the dividends of, the labor comes, you find them, shortchanging the women. But when it's time to work, when they need you, when they want to use their numerical strength, when they want to add color to their events and all that, they remember the women. And if you look at what the statistics of the world is saying now, as we speak today, out of 146 countries, Nigeria is ranked the 141st in terms of women representation in political participation, in terms of elective and appointed positions. And even in Africa, our own Africa here, out of about 64 countries, I think we are the 64th, the last in number in terms of women representation, where Rwanda is leading as the very first with about close to 50%, while Nigeria is just about 5.45% or thereabouts. This is very, very low, very appalling, very, very unacceptable. And this is why we are appealing to the present government, because I think the women bodies also took the federal government to court in year 2020. And they got the judgment last year on the 6th of April, I think, where the Federal High Court in Abuja has said that the federal government now has the responsibility to ensure that 35% is given to women in appointed positions. And I'm very sure President Muhammadu Buhari and President Bola Tinubu will ensure that he upholds this mandate to ensure that women are given the right place for them in the society, to ensure that they're able to play their role. We constitute over 50% of this population. And so when a nation decides to underuse the talent, the God-given talent of over 50% of our population, then definitely we are missing out something, because the lens at which women see things is very different from the way men see things. And of course, we are result-oriented, we are multitasking, we bring a lot of finesse, we bring a lot of, color and beauty, and of course, excitement to anything we handle. So, and we have tested a lot of women in the past, and we know how these women have been able to prove their worth. So I want to appeal to all our men. We're appealing to them. We continue to lobby them to, let them see reason to ensure that they position us the way they ought to. Even in the leadership of the National Assembly, we had just one woman in the last 9th Assembly, and we believe that we are going to be having more this time around, because definitely we will not be having less. We had one, so if we are not having more, definitely I know that a woman will represent us. But we are hoping to have more, because women, they will be able to ensure that we add value to the leadership of the National Assembly. And as it is today, I know that we have a lot of women in the National Assembly who are capable, who are able to give the right leadership to the National Assembly. With the joint task team, of which I'm a member, of course, the joint task team is a combination of people who came together to ensure that the right leadership is presented in the 10th Assembly.
All right.
The joint task came up initially as a body that is neutral to ensure that whoever the party presents for the leadership of the National Assembly will be supported in the long run.
So how
and
was
this is where I have belonged since the beginning.
If you can hear me.
And I think even the joint task has been in operation since the 9th Assembly, where they came together in the interest of all Nigerians and in the interest of Nigeria that to deliver Nigeria in good light is a joint task. This had been on in the Assembly, and I think this is just a continuation to ensure that we work together harmoniously with the executive arm of government and, of course, the judiciary to ensure that we get the dividends of democracy across to Nigerians.
Right. Can you hear me? All right. If you can hear me, I was going to ask, you say you're part of the Joint Task Force team. How is it that you were not able to negotiate that a principal position was given perhaps to a woman? You had mentioned sometime or advocated some time that a principal position with regards to the zoning should be given to a woman, but we didn't see that happen, especially with your party. What transpired? Is it that the women are not negotiating their way to occupying some of these positions such that the men can look at them and know that, yes, you are presenting something forward and we can have you sit at the table?
If you have been following the politics in the National Assembly, the 10th Assembly recently, you found out that we had about 3 women that came out to contest. We had one that contested to be the Speaker, Mrs. Miriam, and we had 2 others that wanted to be deputy speakers, both of which are from the Southwest region. The other, the lady that wants to, the honorable member that contested to be the Speaker is from the Southeast region. And, you know, as it is, the party has taken position, and of course, the party is supreme. The position was zoned to Northwest and, of course, the Southeast region. And they even micro-zoned. It wasn't as if they just zoned it to the zones and then we can pick from the zones. They micro-zoned to the individuals. And for me, the party is supreme. I am a very loyal party member all my life. Wherever I stand, I am permanently there, like glued to the wall. So, and once the party has spoken, we have taken our position to ensure that we support the position of the party, of which, of course, the leader of the party as well, Bola Tinubu, has also, you know, invited us to let us know that this is the position of the party, and we are going to support the position of the party, and that is to ensure that Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas becomes the Speaker, and Honorable Benjamin Kalu becomes the Deputy Speaker. The principal offices are 10. That is just for the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker. So we are believing and we are very positive that definitely women will be included in the remaining 8 positions that constitutes the 10 members of the leadership of the House of Representatives. For me, the House of Rep, as a legislative body, is the soul of the nation. Once we get it wrong, a lot of things will go wrong. And this is why it is very important for us, as members of the 10th Assembly, to take a very good position by ensuring that we support the position of the party so that we can work harmoniously with the executive arm of government to ensure that we continue to promote the independence of the legislature and continue to promote the inter-independence of both the executive and the legislature. And of course, the joint task affair is not just a temporary thing just to elect the leadership. We have, let me put it that way, we have our agenda to also ensure that we support good governance that has grassroots impact. We also have to ensure that we support community outreach. We also intend to ensure that there is equity and fairness within the ranking members and the new members. And of course, the leadership positioning of the assembly, we have the plan to also ensure that there's unity and there's fairness and equity as well. Because whatever we do, we have to ensure that to a reasonable extent, there is equity and fairness so that there won't be rancor and confusion everywhere. So, and this is why some of us have been able to play our part and ensure that whatever the team is doing, we have played our role to be very, very active and support everything that needs to be done in every platform, in every way we can, individually, connecting with people, engaging people, and, canvassing everybody, lobbying everybody. I heard some people say that, actually, I was watching one of the channels recently, and some people were arguing that it's not in his place to say that they must do this, they must do that. He has not forced us. He's not compelling. He's not insisting. He's only advising, and he's lobbying. He has been able to do that. He has been able to lobby everybody. It's now left to us, because we are still going to have an election on Tuesday. We are still going to elect. People will have the right to vote, to make their choice, because it's left to you. It's not enough for the party to say, this is where we are going. You still have a right as an individual, as an elected honorable member, to make up your mind on what exactly we want.
Thank you.
I know that a lot of our members, both in the Senate and of course in the
so
House
much.
of Representatives, already have seen reason.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
They have seen
Can you hear me?
genuinity. I can hear you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for speaking holistically. Peculiarly as regarding Koshofe local government or Koshofe House of Reps, what are the things that you intend to do, right, for residents within your jurisdiction going forward during this tenure? What are the things that you expect to do?
By the grace of God, I am well equipped. During my electioneering campaign, as I moved around, I had a note of the needs of my constituents. And like I tell people, coming to the House of Representatives, you are not just representing your people in your local government, you are representing Nigerians. Because every bill sponsored, every laws made will be affecting the generality of Nigerians. But we are there to represent them, to listen to them, to address issues that directly affect them, so that we'll be able to amplify it at the chambers of the National Assembly. So, and for me, as an individual for Koshofe Federal Constituency, I'm well equipped with the needs of my constituency. I intend to ensure that I support bills that affect young people generally, and I've started to collect data, to engage people, and of course, to also profile them. Because I believe that our young people, they need engagement. We need to be able to collaborate with them, to listen to them, to know exactly what the issues are. Some people are presently employed. They are not satisfied with the kind of employment they have. Some are not employed at all. We need to know the age category, what you have passion for. Some have, artisan jobs that they are doing. Some needs to be equipped with whatever facility they need to, upgrade their businesses and all that. So these are the collection and collection that we are doing presently, so that we know where to address what. I will also be ensuring that the oversight functions that I will be doing, I will be using it to facilitate and influence, positivity to my constituency, so that I will be able to ensure that the human capacity and the human capability of my constituents is enhanced and improved. Because I have thought of what exactly I need to do in every locality. I know their needs in Mende, I know their needs in Oworo, I know their needs in Ifako, I know their needs in Ikosisheri and Agboike, to everywhere. I know what exactly I need to do. And I'm very, very focused on this. Depending on whatever committee I find myself, I believe that wherever you find yourself, it's not about the committee, it's about the personality and how you are able to use that office. So wherever you find yourself, I'm not always very bothered, even though I try to influence my area of expertise so that I'll be able to maximize my potentials.
All right.
But what is really important is the passion and the interest you have to touch lives, to ensure that you address the needs of people. That is why we are here. We are not here because of any other reason.
Right.
We are here to represent. To represent, we must.
That's
to ensure
right.
that our people
It's so good.
get the
It's so
dividends
good
of
to hear
democracy.
about your passion
Trust me,
for your constituents.
My people in Koshofe Federal Constituency,
Can you hear me?
They are in for a very, very good time and a period of benefits of dividends of democracy.
Fantastic. It's so good to hear about your passion and love for your constituents, and I'm sure they are looking forward to the plans that you have for them. But let's take it to your career growth. What kind of support have you enjoyed in your career growth, and how can this kind of support be extended to other women that are interested in politics?
My career path, politically or private sector,
Political career.
Which one are you asking?
Political career. What kind of support have you enjoyed to elevate your political career? And how can this same support be extended to other women interested in politics?
Well, the best support that I have ever had all my life is the support of my husband. He has been very supportive. He has been there for me all the time. He shares ideas with me. He gives me ideas. He's the pillar. He's my rock. It's my everything. If without him, I won't be here today. I think that is the best support I have had. And of course, my children as well. I'm a grandmother. I have children who have been very supportive. I have 2 lawyers. I have, they have been very supportive as well. So I think the family support, you can't compromise it.
Right.
It's the best support a woman needs.
What about the political structure?
How about not compromise the interest of your family?
How about women?
So I try to balance.
How about women supporting women? How do you intend to extend
I ensure that people see me, they think I'm so outgoing. I am very, very homely.
How do you intend to help other women?
I'm home with my family. I don't joke with that peace, the comfort of my home. I believe that as women, you must ensure that you have 100%, or 100%, not 99%, support of your family. And of course, apart from that, when you get out there to start politics, you have to get it right from the beginning by ensuring that you are coming out from a base where you are popular. If it's your husband's state that you want to use, you check it out, check the popularity of your husband, check his goodwill, and check how acceptable you are in that state as well. Or if you want to use your state of origin, check the goodwill of your parents, your background, check how popular your family is in that axis, and see how far you can go. For me, I have contested in Lagos State. When I found out that, when I was nominated for ministerial appointment twice, and they were always saying, she's not from Lagos State, she's from Ogun State. I said, okay, let me go to my state. So I went to Ogun State. I went to contest governorship election there. I was still accepted. But in the long run, because of the mobility of going back and forth, as a woman, we can use our father's state and we can use our state. I decided to stay back in my husband's state because I'm a Lagosian as well. All my children are Lagosian. My husband is from Lagos State. So you have to look at that, taking your foot from your best point of popularity. So, and then when you get out there as well, you will be meeting a lot of challenges. Politics is very, very expensive. It's not cheap at all. So you have to be prepared as a woman. You must have a very good source of income. If possible, streams, not just one source of income, to ensure that you are able to juggle it. Because in politics, you are going to be paying a lot of dues without any income for a very long time before you are able to balance and get things done. So if you have a very good business, you can use politics to enhance your business.
All right.
This is some of the things I have been able to achieve.
Kafilat, can you hear me?
As a woman, you have to... Yes, I can hear you.
Very good. Because I asked the question earlier about this matter of women supporting women. What kind of support did you get from the women folk apart from your family?
Women supporting women.
And then how do you intend to extend support to the women? What kind of bills would you be looking at pushing that will be in favor of the women, aside you looking at, also supporting women who are looking to be like you in the future?
Thank you. As women, we must continue to support ourselves. We must love ourselves. We are very few in political offices. So for me, I have always supported women. My local government, I have a woman as the council chairman there, Mrs. Samiat Abolale Bada. And I'm sure if you interview her today, she will tell you that when she looked at her back and saw nobody, I think I remained there for her. And when I had to do mine too, she was there for me. So that is very, very significant and is very important for us as women not to, engage in petty jealousy, rivalry, envy, and all that. Because once you look at yourself, you assess yourself. Whatever you have is what you can give. You cannot give what you don't have. If a woman is better than you, you can't be better than her. You can only improve on yourself. When you try to cross those boundaries, you will crash. So we need to continue to stand together, stand by ourselves, and work with ourselves. I have always supported women, and I will continue to support women. And of course, in the House of Representatives, as we are today, I intend to push position of ensuring that women that have been elected in positions, because we cannot, look at the Senate, for instance, we had 7 women there. 7 women that had gained a lot of experience, and we lost all of them just to bring in 3 new, fresh women that do not even have legislative experience. This is a colossal loss. This is not good for our democracy, and it's not good for the women, because we are still trying to build up on our gains. So how can we ensure that the gains we have are sustained? We are going to move around all our former presidents, all our party chairmen, the national party, across board, all the political parties. We have a lot of work to do. I have opened a platform for our women in the 10th Assembly, and we have started engaging. We did our first meeting just about 3 days ago, and we are very determined to move this time around so that we consolidate on our gains and ensure that we break new grounds, not just surpassing the gains that we already have. We have to break new grounds and ensure that we achieve more gains. We have to, sponsor bills that we ensure that where women have been elected, it is only a woman that should be encouraged to replace such women. Else, we cannot get through anywhere, because we know that women already have challenges, even from childhood. As a girl child, if you look at our northern region, most of the girl children don't really go to school, except now that they are trying to improve on that. The girl children that are out of school are a lot. And when a child doesn't have the right foundation, a girl child, it will build up to a woman that will not be able to contest an election, that will not be able to speak good English, that will not be able to be qualified to get a good job. When you are not qualified to get a good job, you are already disenfranchised as regards the quality of income that you'll be having. So this is a very long process that has affected our women. Even religious and cultural factors have affected us in a very long way. So we need our men to be able to understand and support us in every way. I tried to do a research from some of our past leaders that why, when you were president, sir, what happened? Why were you not able to ensure that we had more women? And the excuses were very, very flimsy about our agenda, which is very discriminatory and not acceptable at all. Women, a lot of us are better than the men. I stand to be corrected. So we should be encouraged. We should be, used as a tool to develop this nation, because we have a lot to offer. We are very passionate. We are very, sensitive to human needs. And we are also very responsive to the needs of our people. So if we want to get our nation on the right track, we have to deliberately and, intentionally ensure that we use individuals, more of women, to get the dividends of democracy down to the grassroots to affect our people. Because what do we really stand for? We stand for people. We stand for family. And it is the education, the moral values that we inculcate in our children that we take to the society.
You mentioned that.
Are you speaking to me?
Yes, you mentioned that. Yes. Can you hear me now, ma'am? Okay, you mentioned.
Yes, I can.
Yeah. You mentioned that there were some reasons that your male counterparts actually gave you, which the reason.
Presidents
what?
gave. You said that some excuses our former presidents gave that sounded flimsy. If you could just give us an insight into what those excuses were to help our understanding.
Absolutely.
No, they say that women, because women sleep around. I didn't want to say it on air.
Wow.
So, and then I asked, do they sleep alone?
Absolutely.
No, this is very, very unacceptable. We will not take it from them, and we believe that most of the time they just use it to run women down. They try to degrade you. They try to pull you down. They try to demoralize you because they know that you have something to offer. So this is the challenge that women have faced. And that was the only excuse I got from one of our former presidents.
So from that,
I don't want to mention
from all of these excuses, what would you want this current president to do differently? He has said he would support women. In fact, perhaps he's even looking at a 50% affirmative action. What do you want him to do differently, knowing that he has shown that he supports women?
Well, I know that Asiwaju Bola Tinubu is a gender-sensitive person. Even as a governor, he had a woman as his deputy, and he has always encouraged that we have women as deputy governors in Lagos State. And even in the cabinet, he tries to ensure that women are positioned. And this is a man that was able to allow his own wife to go to the Senate as a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So you can imagine how sensitive he is to issues that, concerns women. So I don't have any doubt at all as to how I need to advise or, encourage him or whatever more. I believe automatically that women will be well positioned in the time of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu because he knows what to do. He knows the right thing to do. I've told people, I said, for me to I came to this party because of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, not because of anything else, because I saw that progressive attitude in him. I saw the vision he has for this country. The first time I met him, after the introduction and all that, before we spoke for 10 minutes, he was already talking about his vision for Nigeria. Then there was nothing like him wanting to contest an election. This was a very long time ago, and I'm like, no, this is the man. But he didn't even have the ambition. He was just correcting the ills of the country at that time. And he brought a lot of ideas as to they're supposed to do this, they're supposed to do this. And I'm like, wow. So this is a man that has the ideas. Innovation rules the world. Asiwaju is a very, very innovative leader. And this is why some of us, even before people keyed into the vision, keyed into the presidential move, some of us were already out with the swagger movement to campaign to the world that Asiwaju is the man we want to contest for president, even when he had not even spoken about his intention to contest the election. So we believe passionately about him. This is not a joke. This is not gainsaying. It's not, I don't know what people will call it, but this is reality. Because we are convinced, we have that conviction that this is the man. And Nigerians that have not realized, will soon realize.
Member-elect House of Reps Kafilat Ogbara Adetola, we must thank you for your insight into matters that concerns women and the fact that you believe strongly that the current administration would give women a pride of place in this administration, and I believe a lot of Nigerians are looking forward to that. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right. So much has been said with regards to women, and we hope, as she has spoken, that she would push some of the things she has promised. Nigerians will be putting her on her toes. You mentioned it. We look forward to seeing you doing it in the coming days. And as she has pointed out, the current administration has said that they would look at women in the direction of women to have some appointments. And then there are some bills that were put before the past administration. And we hope that that also will be revisited because it also has to do with the lives and protection of women. So this is where we'll draw the curtains on the program for today. We survived despite traffic.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Despite traffic and all of it, we made it here, and this is how we'll wrap things up. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. We'll see you again next week. Stay safe. Bye for now.